Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Greg Bottaro from the CatholicPsych Institute, and I want to talk a little bit about sex and babies and fruitfulness. So this is something that I find to be a little bit confusing when it comes to Catholic teaching, and especially when we get into like natural family planning, NFP, contraception, and understanding what's right and what's wrong. There's a lot of confusion in this area, even amongst faithful Orthodox Catholics who know theology of the body, who teach theology of the body. I think there's still some confusion in this area. When it comes to infertility, for instance, that can be a real source of pain for people. Couples get married, they are excited about bringing children into the world, fulfilling their Catholic vocation, and then they can't because of some physiological reason, and that can be a real source of suffering. And I often find myself talking about fruitfulness in marriage as something that is bigger than simply having babies. You see, when you make the vows, you are opening yourself up. You're saying, I promise to be open to children. It doesn't mean that you're promising to have children. Those are two different things. Actually having a baby is a very different reality than being open to it, which is also part of fruitfulness. So let me put it like this. Normally, theology of the body is taught to have four what have been called pillars. And those four pillars are that married love images God's love in that it is free, total, faithful, and fruitful. So if you've learned theology of the body, a lot of the most popular manifestations, that's how it's boiled down. It's summarized in that way. Free, total, faithful, fruitful. It's a little bit misleading, I think, to summarize it that way, because it equates all four of those qualities of love as if they're four pillars, holding up four corners of one reality. We're talking about something abstract, so those are true, but they kind of line up differently when it comes to real life, real married life. You see, fruitfulness is not just one of four parts of love. Fruitfulness is the consequence or the effect of the other three parts. So when you have love that is free, total, and faithful, it is necessarily then fruitful. Fruitfulness is not one other pillar. So it's kind of like, really, there's a tripod. There are three pillars, and the three pillars are holding up the fourth reality of fruitfulness. And so if you have love that is free, total, and faithful, it's going to be fruitful. If you remove one of those three legs of that tripod, if it's not free, if it's not total, or if it's not faithful, you're going to lose the reality of fruitfulness. Okay, so this is really an abstract way to think about it, but what this means is every married couple who's living free, total, and faithful love is, by definition, fruitful, even if you can't have a baby. And so there's lots of ways that fruitfulness gets manifest in community, with the rest of your family, extended family, in your neighborhood, in your church. There's an overflowing of the love between a husband and a wife that is necessarily fruitful when it's free, total, and faithful. That also means that being fruitful doesn't only happen in making babies, and so if it's not like if you want to be fruitful, you have to make babies. And so this mentality can change the way we think even about natural family planning. You see, NFP is about that openness. It's about never engaging in a marital act, in the conjugal act, with any kind of barrier or holding anything back. So every time that you have sex with your spouse, if it's a freely given gift of self, if it's given totally, which means you're holding nothing back, there's no barrier, you're not saying no to any part of this act, which includes its potential for fertility, and it's faithful, then it's fruitful. And so we don't want NFP to just be about, are we having babies or not having babies? We want NFP to be about, is it fruitful or not? All the time, anytime. Doesn't matter if you're beyond the fertility age. It doesn't mean if you have a physiological issue that is negating the possibility for fertility. It doesn't mean if it's the time of the month when it's not possible, when the woman's not fertile. Your mentality has to be one of openness, and that is the fruitfulness mentality that we need to have. So there's a lot more to say on this. This is just a quick little video, but hopefully this gets some people thinking and maybe even reacting. Let me know if you have a problem with what I'm saying, if it doesn't make sense, if you don't agree. Love to hear from you. I want this conversation to continue. Thank you, and God bless you.